Yeah. Well, so they been waiting on.
Lift your mic up.
Oh.
Critical, ain't no time left on the clock. When it's your time, give them something to watch. I picked out the locks till I buy up the block, and I know I'ma get for that ding out the box, and they want me to stop.
Oh God, no.
All right.
Oh God.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us? You can hear us. Of
Can
course
you
you can hear
me?
us.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me.
You can hear you.
It's just your show. I can't hear me.
Can we get a little
You
more
can hear me?
Naj?
Come on, sound man. That's my husband. I could talk to him like that. Can we hear me? We good? Well, hello. Thank you for coming to Pretty Hurts.
Listen.
Yay.
I'm not going to act like we didn't wish that there were more people out here tonight. Last time, there was a whole lot more people, and that's not the case tonight. But here's the thing. Like Mikey said, we're building this thing organically, and we're figuring out stuff. So for every one of you, this is family and our closest
Yes.
friends. So
Yes.
I'm cool with this. This is still being filmed. We're going to air this episode, and we're still going to have a full conversation about
Yes.
something that's important so that other people can see it. So in the least, when it's up, share it. We'll tag y'all. But
When it's up, it'll be stuck, and then you share it.
man. So let's
This is our tradition for live shows is to have a sip with the crowd. So if you have something,
Y'all
need some. We'll do
since we
we'll
got
do
nothing but
another
time here, I'm gonna tell a quick story about my cousin. I'm not gonna say it all the way. I'm not gonna tell you the whole story, but I'm gonna just say this: my cousin can get it in, and I really appreciate it because she can hang. She can hang with the big dogs, and I appreciate
Jay's a
that.
drinker's drinker.
Listen,
like, Jay
so
drank.
listen. I love it. I appreciate you and your capacity, and that's my other favorite drinking buddy right there, Mikey. Y'all two can be a problem together.
I can't.
That's the 18 right there.
Oh God.
So that having been said,
Cheers to all of you being here and talking about things that are important. I thought we were gonna. Well, I'm a lady, so I'm just gonna take a little sip. This is a big shot.
you're a big shot. Naj, so let's start with why we decided that we wanted to have this conversation and talk about this. Because you've really been leading a lot of what we choose to talk about, but talk about why we want to do this.
I really have. I wanted to talk about Pretty Hurts because I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. That's
So
the whole point.
a conversation that was had at a former place with some other peoples, they basically pinned me as a pretty dummy, that I couldn't have the tough conversations, and I was just beauty. And number one, I was bothered by that because I is smart,
And I witnessed
I is
it.
kind, and I is important. So
Listen.
that was number one. Number two, there have always been times where I have felt sexualized. I have felt demeaned. And, I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't know how, right? The one thing that I also realize is if I'm having these thoughts, what is everyone else thinking about?
Sure.
And Jay's first thing is, well, I can't really say nothing because, I'm the light-skinned pretty nigga. And
Yeah. No, it's like
but
I
I'm like,
understand.
everybody has a story.
But no, and even the way that she said that is the exact point, because I understand that within blackness that I'm the guy walking the easy road. I get all the attention for being the pretty one, and I'm not going to even start to. And I thought about this. Like, I understand that it's different between guys and girls. Like, girls can be vicious when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
you could tell all you want about your story, but like, you really had to worry about being physically attacked for being the small, skinny, pretty light-skinned girl, right? It's a little bit different as a dude. I get to reap all the benefits of it. And if you know a pretty light-skinned nigga who is complaining about being a pretty light-skinned nigga, no, there's no way. Like, it's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's not a fair space for me to complain. It's no different than a 6-foot-tall, blonde, middle-of-the-road, typical female complaining about whatever that is. Yes,
And
perfect.
so-
Yes, exactly.
And so,
Yep.
to your point,
Yep.
the standard of beauty
Mm-hmm.
is the European standard, right?
Mhm.
So tall, slender, brown, blue eyes, blonde hair, you look hungry, no real curvages, but in reality, none of us are that. Like, none of us. We're all beautiful in our own special way.
But some of us, meaning all people, are like that, and everyone is pretty. Every type is its own unique kind of beauty,
Right.
and it's just a shame that one type became the standard.
So because of that, there are people who look at themselves from the jump, from 5 years old. I'm ugly. I'm hideous. I'm not pretty. No one will love me. No one will like me. And they start off in this life of, self-hate. And
Based off of something that is not even accurate.
right.
Yeah.
Because what is beauty?
Exactly.
What is beauty? And I say this kind of jokingly, kind of not jokingly. What if you're blind? What is beauty?
Yeah. And that's why I wish we had
What
a
do
lean
you
here.
define as beauty? And I named it Pretty Hurts because it reminds me of this topic reminded me of the song by Beyonce where she's talking about being in pageants and all the things that you had to do to be beautiful. And I even thought about it when I was looking at the article of all the women on the Delta flight. It was like 28 women who were coming back from Brazil and DR with Brazilian butt lifts and nose jobs and everything under the sun that could be nipped and tucked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their idea of beauty because of what someone else told them was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into the conversation about what truly is beauty and how you can, number one, cross that road, or break down those barriers, right?
Sure.
And walk out of here and feel like I am beautiful. I define what is beautiful in my own way.
Yeah, I think the general idea that we said we don't want to go into too many cliches, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I'll probably say this 15 times a night that from Jill Scott all the way to the teeniest, tiniest, wafiest Asian model, I can see beauty all the way across the board personally.
Yeah.
Some people have their type, and if your type is a tall, dark-skinned guy-ish, please,
My man.
enjoy your type. And absolutely, if that's your thing, do your thing, but don't poop on anybody else's, but that's your type. Enjoy
Right.
it. I don't have one, but it's in the eye of the beholder. And I
You
think
say you don't have a type?
I don't. I
Lisa
never have.
is your type.
I get it.
Lisa.
Listen, blonde hair and blue eyes is pretty to me. I'm not going to run for that and not say it. But like I said, Serena is also a dime. There's dime comes in many forms, and I've never had a type. And I just happen to end up with someone who's the main connection for us is friendship. That's my homie. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like Lisa could be 5 billion pounds and be everything that be not attractive to me, and it wouldn't matter when we were 80, 90 years old, because at the end of the day we're both going to be unattractive at that point, and it's all about how well we get along. And I get that that's kind of shaky already, but I'm not that concerned about a specific type physically, because that is honestly, in terms of, for me, a relationship, one of the last things that I worry about. That's just me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, to have this conversation with us, we wanted to invite people that I feel, because I'm be honest, I did all the work and I was like, I'm going to invite these people. But we wanted to invite people who exemplify, number one, beauty, but also breaking down those barriers of what everyone else said is beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
and the reason that I'm going to be, I've already said a lot, but that I'm really going to try to just fall back with this conversation outside of ask questions that I'm curious about is because I know that when I say that I'm the pretty light-skinned curl, that's not me being arrogant. It's just I understand my place, and I understand that I don't really have, as a person who's walked that road with the easy road in that regard, I should just shut up. It's like mansplaining. I'm not going to try to say or complain about anything. You know what I mean? And I think the main point of this, with all of these tougher conversations that get really murky quickly,
and they get uncomfortable. Like,
and they make everybody uncomfortable.
I'm
you know?
even like,
Yeah,
I don't agree with you on that.
And that's okay. That's the whole point of having uncomfortable conversations,
Right?
Because no one's going to walk in here. Yes, we all agree. It's
Right.
not easy. But the point is that there's clearly a problem in this country with beauty standards, and probably globally, and
Definitely
all of the
globally.
different types should be equally represented and appreciated. And I think the first step, as we've said before, to any kind of steps forward, progress, and resolution is you have to have a conversation. So
You
that's what
have
this
to
is.
have a conversation. Right. So we would like to introduce. Do you want your whole name, or do you want? Okay. So we have the lovely ladies. Ishmael, get ready, babe. This is their intro. We have Bryndaisha Byrd, and we have Tiffany Flamer.
So you want to just kind of start with kind of letting them give their sort of bios, if you will, and talk about themselves?
Yes. So I actually found out that we is family.
Yes.
So I'm happy already. Like, this is great. But
hey, cousin.
Hey, cuz. So these two ladies, if you go on their Instagram, you are Supersize My Style.
Yes.
And you are Tiffy,
the fashion slayer.
I thought I had a closet. Baby, y'all don't know what a closet is until you see their Instagrams, okay? What they're wearing today should tell you exactly how big their wardrobe is, and I'm in love with it, okay? They are stylists. They are... she says she's not a model, but sis is a model. She's a model. They are models. They are trendsetters. They are icons. And they are at the top of the list. Absolutely beautiful. So let's give it up for them really quickly.
Why is that the top of the list?
Because they beautiful.
What if they were way like super intelligent? Why wouldn't that be at the top of the list?
Well, we about to see, baby, and it might change.
What if she was a super duper singer? Why wouldn't that be at the top of the list?
Do y'all sing?
I do not.
I can, but I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you can dress and I can't. So.
And that's okay too.
So let's start with you, my dear. Tell us where you're from.
Okay.
And tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. So my name is Bryndaisha. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
You're fine.
So my name is Bryndaisha Byrd. I am the creator and owner of Supersize My Style. I had a online boutique, which I discontinued once I had my son, who is now 2 years old. I am from originally. I was born, partially raised in New York, in Harlem, until the age of 9, and I am from Chester. I tell everyone I'm from Chester, PA, because that's really where I represent. I'm alumni from Cheney and Lincoln University, and that's pretty much. I'm happily married to my best friend, Kevin Byrd, who is here.
Hey!
And
Best friend.
we have a lovely son by the name of Kenzo Ade Byrd, who I'm in love with. So that is for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, my dear?
Ooh, all right. So, hi guys. My name is Tiffany Flamer. I am Tiffy, the fashion slayer on Instagram. I am a resident of Chester, born and raised.
Oh, wow. Old Chester.
Yeah. I'm a school teacher. I went to school, graduated from Widener University with an education degree, and also got my master's from Newman University in special education and instructional leadership. Wow. I am a fashionista. Like, I love fashion. I love children, and I'm just so grateful that I get to, do the best, have the best of both worlds. Yes. What else? I won Ashley Stewart Finding
Yeah.
Ashley Stewart in
2018.
2018. Yeah, so that was like super, super dope. Such an awesome experience. I got to, go on tour with the brand. My face was in every store around the country.
Still is. Still is.
Got to get my foot in the door with, with modeling at the big stage, So I guess that's about it.
Okay.
How did you get into modeling?
I kind of, you know what? I think modeling got into me.
Okay.
I'm going to say ever since I was a little girl, like I always loved dressing up and taking pictures. I knew when I was about 5 or 6 years old that like I love fashion. Like I loved clothes. I remember I did something. I got in trouble. My mom and I, we had just went shopping. She had bought me all of these cute clothes. And I had did something. And she was like, you know what? I'm taking everything back. I cried like a baby. She didn't take it back. She put it in the trunk of her car. But I was like so hurt by that. And that's when she's like, I knew this girl was just like a fashion girl, just like me. And I would just always dress up and, and model in front of the mirror. And you remember back when, before there were cell phones, cameras, and you had the little throwaway camera with the wind up. I would have my mom go and buy me one every single week. And I would just be taking pictures, getting people to take pictures of me.
Oh my
and, you didn't know how they were going to look because you had to wait for them to get developed. So, do you remember those days?
I don't want to.
So yeah, that's pretty much how that went. And at church, growing up in church, we would have like little youth fashion. Yes, church was the place. Youth fashion shows and everything, and I just had to be a part of everything. So it's just been a constant thing.
Okay.
From
Is your star like it's still rising and rising and rising? So like, can you tell us a little bit more about like your journey and what it's been like so far, the struggles of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So honestly, outside of it being something that I love to do, I never thought that I would do it at the platform that I am doing it now. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, when I was younger, I would look at magazines. I would never see anyone who looked like me. Mm-hmm. I would literally cut my face out of pictures and glue them onto other women, other girls in magazines that look like you, because that's what I saw. Yeah. And a lot of times, like, I even had family members who told me that, you have a very beautiful face. You're very pretty. Mm-hmm. But if you could just get to this size, mm-hmm. you could be the centerfold of a magazine. And I will always think about that. And it will always be a struggle. And something that I would aim towards, like, okay, I'm telling you, I was on a diet pretty much my whole entire life, trying to fit this image so that I could look like the girls and the women in the magazines or the girls in a store window. And it was insane. Like I had the lowest of self-esteem for a very, very long time, even though, of course, I dressed the part. Everybody always told me, oh, you look cute. My mom did a wonderful job of trying to dress me, for the size that I was, because I always carried like a little extra weight. I don't know if you guys remember the stores back in the day called 579. I was never a 5, a 7, nor a 9. I would go there with my friends and I would buy a bracelet or earrings or a necklace, just to say that I bought something, So yeah, it was a struggle. Yeah. And honestly, years after graduation, that's when I met this lovely lady down here. And I'm going to tell you that meeting her was like a pivotal moment in my self-esteem. I don't know if she knows that or not, but she's finding out now.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
Right.
Yes.
But we met through, and it was kind of just like how we're sitting up here now. We were at a birthday get together, one of our homegirls, a mutual homegirl. And I'm just listening to her talk, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, even saying to myself, like, I hope she don't think I'm like, but I'm just like, this girl is like the bomb. I'm like, her style and everything. And she's like, I don't care what anybody got to say about me. Like, I'm gonna walk up in the place and I know I look good and I'm this side, and I'm just like, dang, I just want her confidence. And she just started speaking. She's like, girl, you're beautiful. And I'm like, I don't wear my arms out. I don't wear my legs out. I don't wear this. She's like, why not? And I'm like, because of how I look. And she's just like, pouring into me. And I'm, we just connected and just started uplifting me and just started sharing different words of encouragement with me and showing me different people who look like me. And it was just like, wow, like I can really be this person, and not have to change myself to be this person that other people want me to be, their perception of beauty, because I'm beautiful just the way that I am. I don't have to lose the weight, and I don't have to try to fit into a certain size. Like there's things for me the way that I am right now. So after discovering her and starting to speak words of encouragement over myself and get involved with like-minded people to uplift me, there was like a shift in my mind, and I started to really love me. Like I spent, oh my gosh, almost 30 years not liking who I was because of people, and also, seeing this image in front of you in magazines, in the media, on TV, everywhere. And now I don't have to be that. So I just started just walking into my own purpose, like this is who I am. And so when I started even Tiffy the Fashion Slayer, that platform came about of just me. People will be like, oh my gosh, like I love the way that you dress. Like you encourage me. And other, even like older women who had younger children who look like me, they're like, oh my gosh, like I want my daughter to meet you. I want my daughter's inspired by you. Right. And it was just like, wow, like me? I'm an inspiration? Like
Right.
This girl that had this low self-esteem and everything. Right. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like, I knew that at that point in time, at that moment, I said, everything that I've gone through, I was supposed to go through.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that I can be that inspiration to other young girls and women. So I just kept going for it. So when Ashley Stewart came about in 2018, honestly, 2015, Ashley Stewart had a contest and I auditioned for that and I didn't make it. And then when 2018 rolled around and it was like a different contest now, in 2015, that was just like they came to Philly and they were just looking for, they were picking 4 ladies that were going to win an opportunity to get the model experience. So all you were winning was a photo shoot and they gave you like a couple outfits. That was it, But then in 2018, this was a big thing. Like you were going to be the face of the brand for an entire year. You were going to win a year-long contract with them. You were going to go on tour with the brand. 1 year worth of clothes. It was just like a lot. So it was like bigger. So when that came about, and the store manager at my local, Ashley Stewart, she's like, Tiff, you should audition. And I'm like, nah, that's not for me. I'm not like not a competition type of girl. And plus, I tried out in 2015. These are the same people that are coming back again. So they didn't pick me in 2015. What makes you think they're going to pick me now? Then on top of that, I was hearing people, so-called friends, How many of you know you got friends that they're not your friends? If they're gonna be negative, and they one so-called friend, they're not a friend anymore, but they had said, you know, you're getting older.
Oh.
That they're probably going to want someone between the ages of 18 and maybe 22, 24. And I'm like, you know, you're probably right. Like, looking at the models in the store, I'm like, they're kind of younger. So I'm like, you know.
But she won.
I'm not going to do it. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, these girls are plus size, but they're not visibly plus. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but plus size actually starts at a size 8. I don't consider that to be plus, but if you ever look it up, Google it. In the fashion industry, they consider plus size to start at a size 8. Wow. So the models that they use are usually between a size 8 and maybe a 10.
Can you help me with that? Because I don't know what that means.
A little bit bigger.
I really have no perspective on that.
Literally a little bit bigger than Nadj.
Yeah.
You're an 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't consider you nowhere near to be plus size.
Which is still a small size.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the thing there. It was like, okay,
I love
yeah,
Mikey.
this is a plus size brand, but here you have this visibly plus girl. They're not going to pick me. Mm-hmm. So people were just in my ear like, do it, do it, do it. So I was like, you know what? It's worth a try. I put it on my vision board. I wrote it in my journal that I was going to.
Pin that. We're going to come back to that.
That I wrote that I was going to win Philly's top 2. And I'm like, okay, well, Philly's top 2 is not going to take me to New York. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm going to win the title of Ashley Stewart 2018. So when I went to audition in Philly that one day in June, I modeled. They asked me a question. I answered a question. I just went to the back of the store, front of the store, because there were so many people there. And I'm like, I'll be close to the exit when my number doesn't get called. And I won't have to go through all of these people. Oh, man. So I think there was like 98 ladies who auditioned that day. Wow. It was a very long day. Just imagine all of us have to model. We all have to answer the question of why we should be Ashley Stewart 2018. Right. So everyone goes. Now the judges, they pick the numbers of who won. So I have this number 13 in my hand. I'm not paying attention to what numbers they're calling. Mm-hmm. So they called my number, and then there's a woman next to me. She's like, sis, they called your number. I'm like, they called my number? She's like, yeah, 13, right? She's like, I'm like, they called my number. So I go up there. Now I made Philly's top 2. Wow. So now after I think they went on 2 more tour stops after that. I think they were going to New York City, and then they were going to Atlanta. And after they got all of their 20 ladies, now we are the top 20. So now the public has to vote for who's going to be the final 8 ladies. Mm-hmm. So now it was up to all of America to go onto the website to vote for us. So now I'm looking at all 20 of us, all of these ladies who have like these big Instagram following. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make the top 20. Then I turn on TV one day. One of the girls in the top 20 is on a BET commercial. And I'm like, you got these girls are popping. Like, right. It's no way that I'm going to make the top 20. I mean, the top 8. So voting's over, made the top 8. We're in New York City. We received pageant coaching, model coaching from the pageant coach of Miss Universe. Okay. Wow. When I tell you that during coaching, I was getting called out for everything. Tiffany, head up. Tiffany, walk this way. Tiffany, do this. Tiffany, this is not right. To the point where when I got back to my hotel room, I just cried. I was like, I don't know who's going to win, but I know it's not going to be me, because you ever be in class and you get called on from the teacher to go to the board and solve a problem, and then you get it wrong and like everybody's looking at you. That's how I felt.
Mhm.
So I was just like, God, I'm just grateful for this experience. Made it to final night. Lonnie Love, who is one of the hosts of The Real, she was the host of the show.
Oh, wow.
She announced me as the winner, and it was just insane. I'm like, I really couldn't believe it. But from that, so many doors opened up for me. But on top of that, I just got to meet so many people. I remember that's when I got to meet Key. I ran into her and Ashley Stewart, probably like the same year that I won. And she's like, oh my gosh, are you Tiffy the Fashion Slayer? And I was like, that was like my first time meeting like a follower. And I like felt like really, really important. She's like, I love you. Like I follow you on Instagram and everything. And we just connected. And there was just like so many other women and girls coming up to me, like sharing their story. Like, it's because of you that I want to, amplify my style, and I want to, I've gained more confidence. I started loving myself, and it was just like, wow, like I did this,
Mhm.
or I had this impact. And it's like, wow, God saw something, he knew this
Mhm.
from here on up to here. And like every day, my DMs are filled with messages from teenagers and young ladies, young and old, telling me how much I inspire them and motivate them. So yes, the modeling, I love modeling. I still love dressing up, taking pretty pictures, but the impact that I have made on society of women who look like me,
Mhm.
and I just wish that when I was younger, if I saw someone who looked like me back then, I know that I would not have had the low self-esteem that I had,
Mhm.
you know? Sorry.
Outside or
Wait. Can we just clap? Can we just clap for
Right.
her? Because
Right.
number one, that is a beautiful, beautiful story of your journey.
Thank you.
And I have to say, I adore the credit that you gave her. So
Yes.
because of that, I want to know about your story. Because in order for you to be able to build her up,
Mhm.
something had to happen in your life to build you up.
Well, my story is a little bit different because it wasn't until I got to college that I started to like fashion or even liked how I look or even thought about how I looked. So when I went to college, right, now I went to Shannon University first, but then I left there and I went to Lincoln University where I met a good friend of mine by the name of Dominique Phyllis. Shout out to Dominique. And she was my roommate. She was a plus size girl, but she loved fashion. I walked in the room and everything was like shoes and heels. And, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to like this girl before I even see her. And I know she's plus size. So that's a plus. So I met her and I thought she was super dope. But then she introduced me to someone who is still my friend to this day, which is how I actually met Tiffany, my girlfriend by the name of Regina Clark. She's amazing too. But they all just were big plus size girls. And I'm talking real plus size girls, like size 20, 22, real plus size. But they were just fire. They were so fly. They were effortless. They were just amazing. And to me, it was like, that's who I want to be. So, when they say you go to college and you find out where you want to be, that's what I found out. Right. Hence why I left my third year. I never got my degree, but the experiences were amazing. So I met these girls and they just showed me, they modeled exactly what I wanted to be and exactly what I wanted to see my life as. And these were these beautiful plus size Black women who I admire. And like I said, I met Tiffany through there. But when I saw Tiffany, this is how you know beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, because I thought she was gorgeous. From the moment I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. And it was so dope that I know these plus size girls who know plus size girls who are just as dope as we are. So I saw Tiffany and I'm like, you are gorgeous. What are you talking about? You don't wear shorts. What do you mean you don't wear your arms out? Like, what? You are gorgeous. And it was just an eye opener that, you are your worst critic.
Yes.
You really are your worst critic, because I have people who tell me, you are amazing. You are beautiful. You are this. And I'm like, well, I got this and I got that. And, you know, we are always in our minds about ourselves, but it's unfortunate that it takes someone else to tell you how beautiful you are for you to really feel it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when I saw Tiffany, I was just like, this girl is beautiful, from the chocolate skin to the smile. She was everything that I loved and that I wanted to be around. And that's another thing that's important, having people around you that look like you, that like what you like, that make you feel like you guys are equal, that there is no competition here. Yeah. And that's what I got from Tiffany. So I was just like, this girl she's headed for greatness because she is just so beautiful to me. But it's also like, that's all that's important. Mm-hmm. You know, not being beautiful to other people is really the focus. It should really be how you feel about yourself. Right. So when I saw her, I was just like, this girl is beautiful. You are beautiful. I don't know what you're talking about. And I don't know how long it's going to take for you to see it, but you are beautiful. So that's how we connected. And here she is.
Have you always been as confident as you are? It's just your personality?
It really is just my personality. And I think people think I'm more confident than I am, but it's like, no, I'm here. I just want you to know that I'm here. You know what I mean? So I've had issues. I've had like skin issues. I mean, we all have, especially as women. I've had skin issues. I've had weight issues my whole life. And it wasn't just like, because, you know, you see the plus size girls, and nowadays it's like you have to have big boobs and a big butt and a small stomach. And you have to have all of this. But I birthed a child. I'm going to tell you. A lot of us have birthed children, and it's like we have to learn how to come out of that. Mm-hmm. How to come out of what everyone else's perception is of us, and to learn how that we are great by ourselves. Yes. And then it wasn't until I had my son, because I've always had like these nose issues, which is so stupid. But I've always like, my nose is so big. My nose is so big. But then I have my son, and he has the exact same nose, and he's gorgeous. And I'm like, who would I be to deny myself and my nose? And this little boy has the same exact one. Like, I'm doing a disservice to not only me, but to my son. So I would never do that again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm learning, and still learning at the age of 32, to celebrate all of me. You know what I mean? And we should all celebrate all of us, because we are so much more than just the way we look. Yes. We're so much more than just the most important thing is how you feel. And I know I feel fly every day. So if I want to take my son to the park in high heels and a wig, then that's what I'm going to do.
So how do you stay feeling fly all the time?
You know what? I'm going to tell you. It's help from my husband. Because he is like...
He's like her number one cheerleader.
Listen, you know when Beyonce said, my man makes me feel so goddamn fine, I'm flawless, like that's who I have that's in my corner. And every day he's like, I don't care what you got on, you look so... you know, like he just makes me feel so good. And that's the type of people that you want to have around you. Yes. You know, people that make you feel as good as you feel already. Yeah. Because sometimes we dim our lights. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? God. Sometimes we dim our lights. Yes. But my husband reminds me to shine as bright. So I remind my son, like, shine your light on the world, Zoe. We have that written all over the house. Shine your light on the world, because there's only one of you. And you will never be nobody else. So, you know, to celebrate ourselves.
So you said something about, now let me get this right. You said it's not about what other people say. Mm-hmm. It's about how you feel. Mm-hmm. So for both of you, when did it click for you? Like, wait a minute, I don't care. I don't have to care about what anyone else said. Like, I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to like what I see. Like, what was do you remember that moment?
I do. For me, it was when I was in school. Like I said, when I got to college, I just felt like I was surrounded by, because number one, I went to an HBCU. So I went to Howard. I went to Lincoln University. And when I got there, it was like, you know, they put black people in this box as if we are all the same and we are all different. And that's what I learned when I got...
Talk about that box.
Right. Well, they talk... You know, there's like this box that... You know, there's a box there. It's like, you're black, you have to be this, or you are this, or you talk this way, or you... You know, we grow up in it. Yeah. And so you feel that way majority of the time. And then I got to school, and it was like, no, they lied. We are different. Mm-hmm. Yes. We come from here, we come from there. We know this, and we know that. We can do this, we do that. We are fly. You know what I mean? Like, we are just fly people. And when I got to this HBCU, it just felt so good. And that's how I want to feel. You know, when you just want to feel good, and it felt good. And like I said, for me, the pivotal moment was when I saw these beautiful black girls that were all plus size and who walked in their purpose. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't shy away from who they were. It wasn't about standing back. They were out. They were loud. They were proud. They were big. They were beautiful. And that's what I love. And I, to this day, I love HBCUs, but that's just me. But it just gave me the opportunity to see women who look like me, who literally look like me, not plus size that they say, certain sizes, these 8s and these 10s. No, these were plus size chicks, 18, 20, 22, who walked around with their head held high. And that was my moment. It was like, shine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How can I say anything after that? For me, oh my gosh, like I said, it took me a very long time. I wish I could go back and just hug my younger self and apologize to her.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I tell you, I treated her badly,
As an educator, I know like that you play a huge role in influencing young people across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you bring your love for yourself and your accomplishments as a model to those kids who might look more like you or who are just not traditionally beautiful? How do you go about uplifting them?
Oh my gosh. So I love that question. Every day when my students walk through the door, I am telling them like, good morning, gorgeous. Hi, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
When sometimes they'll come in there like, Ms. Flamer, look at my hair. It's not good. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your hair is gorgeous. Did you see my hair? Your hair looks like, I wish my hair could look like yours. And they're like, really? Like, I'm just always uplifting them. Mm-hmm. And even when they're out of my classroom and they go to the next grade, they'll come back and they'll tell me, I don't like my teacher. I'm like, why not? Because they don't tell me that I'm beautiful when I walk in the door through the classroom.
You set the bar high.
It's like, oh my God, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I just always wanted to be that teacher and that role model that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
That I wish I had when I was their age. And even, with students that, I'm telling them, like, they're all different shapes, their sizes and everything. Like, you have the really tall girl in the classroom that I don't want her to feel, have self-esteem issues because she's tall,
Mm-hmm.
And I just tell her, to hold your head up high. You're beautiful the way that you are. God made you tall for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and just speaking those different words of encouragement over them. And they never feel in my classroom like they know, like it's a zero tolerance of putting the other person down or, talking about pointing out flaws or anything like that. It's just all love and positivity. And I just hope that they continue that throughout life, because it's like at the elementary school level, it's a little bit easier. But once they get, when they get on the second floor, which is middle school, it's a whole different ball game up there, and they're exposed to so much. And, in this world of social media, social media is just, I really wish that they could just not be on, like they could make it a law, like how you can't drink or smoke until a certain age. I'm like, I wish you couldn't get social media to a certain age, because it really has a negative impact on these children.
Yeah,
I want to have, I need my hair this way. Oh, I need my stomach this way. I need to have my butt this way. I need, and all these filters and Photoshop and everything. It's just so much put on them to fit into this criteria of what beauty is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I was about to, this is my turn now. So when I was looking up the ladies, I mean, although they beautiful, I also saw their following. And between the two of them, they have 130,000 followers, which is incredible to your one person, your wife that follows you. And Oh, wait, 3. And your 2 kids. And my little following. And my question to you is, what has social media taught you about, number one, your business, about your outlook on fashion, and how has it affected your moves?
So for me, social media has taught me that you are a brand, that we ourselves are a business, right? And I'm going to say that because I opened up my own store in 2018. I only did it for 2 years because once I got pregnant with my son in 2020, I decided to discontinue it. But it showed me that you, all of you, and the way that you look and the way that you are and the way that you speak, that we can create our own businesses from this, right? So I opened up a business, not to mention I was working at the bank. I used to work for the bank. I was a manager for 8 years. I left my branch to do this.
Wow.
And with the help from my husband, who was like, you don't need to stay there if you don't want to do it. And, you feel like this is...
Shout out to husband.
Right. He's like,
Go
if you don't
follow
want to
your
do
dreams.
this...
He back there quiet, chilling like, yeah.
Right, because sometimes you're thinking it.
Okay.
Sometimes you're thinking it in your mind, but it takes for your partner to be like, well, listen, I got you. Right.
Where he at?
Right. When he was like, you can do this if you don't want to be at the bank. I mean, because I had been there for 8 years, and we all know. Yes. Within today's society, you put in time in the job. I got benefits, dog. I might want to stay here. Yes. But he was like, you don't need to stay here. And if anything goes wrong, I got you. And that was all that I needed. So I left the job and the business took off. So I would do drops like every week because I had a resale boutique on Instagram that I would resell clothes that I purchased or thrifted finds, things like that for plus size women. And it took off. I mean, every Friday when I would have a drop, they would sell out. But it just showed me that social media, not only does it affect your mind and the way that you think, because I know that a lot of the times we think like, oh, if I don't get this many likes, they're not watching or they're not paying attention or they don't like it. But they do. They still watching. So I learned that I can be, they still watching. So I learned from me that I can be authentic. I can be myself. I can say what I want. Yes. You know what I mean? I can just be me. And people will still rock with you. People will still buy the things that you are offering. And for me, the biggest thing, like I said, was the fact that I'm my own business. I am my marketing team. I am my production team. I am all of that. And that, to not sell yourself short. Because a lot of times also with these followings that we have, you have brands who reach out to you like, hey, I want to send you some free products so you can promote it. Why would I promote your product for free? Or they want to send you something so that you can repost it on, but there's no monetary value. Like, where's the money? Right. So I learned that I can do what I want to do on my own terms. I can make up my own business hours. I can, I can promote myself just being authentically me and still make money. And that was the best thing that could have ever happened for me. Yeah. That's what it taught me, that you can be your own business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that for me, even though that there's a lot of negativity that goes on with social media, I do feel like social media has helped me, just be more comfortable in the skin that I am, that I'm in, by seeing other women who look like me, like following Supersize My Style and following the Key to Your Style and following like Kelly Augustine and different other women. Like, it's like, wow, like they're popping. Like, I love them. And I want to inspire to not be them, but like, just seeing them, when you see someone who looks like you and it's like,
it resonates.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So from there, and it's funny, I just talked about this on my stories yesterday or the day before, because I did this influencer, this TikTok about brands. Like, they want to reach out to me, of course, to send me stuff. Like Bryn said, they want to send you a product in exchange for a post. And it's like, okay, yeah, you want to send me this $60 dress. I'm going to post it. You might sell about 80 of them. And what do I have left but this $60 dress, you know? And social media, I realized that I really have influence. Like, I'm kind of low key popping a little bit. Like people are like, yo, Tiff, like, where'd you get that from? So it has become like even like Bryn say, a business. So even for myself, I have influence. So even when it's just me, just organically posting me and my outfit of the day, because honestly, that's how it really started off for me. My social media. People were like, how did you get your following? I had like 20 followers for the longest time. I would get like 2 likes, but every day I was posting me and my outfits. I was giving Tiffy's tips. Like, they say that they say that big girls shouldn't wear bright colors and stripes and this. And I'm like showing them in my, the opposite of what they say that we shouldn't wear. And as I continue to go on, it was like, wow, like I'm growing. People are really, they're watching. They're watching and they're inspired by you. So yeah.
It's really important that you guys are out there doing what you do, basically fighting the tide against all of the people who were going to Brazil and getting all of this crazy work done and using. I mean, I don't have a do what you want. You know what I mean? You have that right. It's a weird balance. But when you have teenage girls and teenage whatever who are literally trying to create a body that is literally fake.
Can I say something about that? So. The other day I had to post, do a post for a brand. And, in this whole social media world, everything is like Photoshop, this, that, and the third. People are just really altering their bodies to get a certain amount of likes. And it's like, I'm never going like, okay, you see my big arms are going to be in this picture. You're going to see this big butt in the picture. Like, first off, I don't even know how to do all of that stuff. But anyway, I did a self shoot is when you shoot your own product. So here I am. I'm my own photographer, my own, my own editor, I'm everything. So I'm in my backyard and I'm taking a picture for his brand and like, you see my spank was hanging out. And I'm like, the picture is nice, but you can kind of see it just a little bit. So I know Key is she's very crafty. Instagram, very crafty. She's like, I tell her, I'm like, I need to just hire her. So I was like, Key, I'm like, listen, my body is my body. I'm never going to I want people to see what you see is what you get. Like, you're going to see these rolls, you're going to see whatever. But I was like, can you just fix that part? So we were talking about, how other people on Instagram, Photoshop themselves to the point where it's unrealistic that when you see them in real life, it's totally different. I'm literally, Nadj, they will Photoshop themselves to look like you. And then when I see you in person, you look like me.
Wait, but you see it that extreme?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's wild. Sorry.
All I kept thinking was Khloe Kardashian, but that's extreme too. That's beyond extreme.
Right.
Wow.
And I don't know. I don't know why they do that. Well, I understand why they do it. They do it for the likes and the followers and, the norms. And the thing is also with plus size brands, what I love that they are doing now is that I just did a shoot with Ashley Stewart a few weeks back. The diversity of models now, like I said, I told you they were size 8 to 10, but now they have from 14 to 26, so that you can actually go in the store and say, oh my gosh, she looks like me. I love the outfit she has on. That's going to look like that on me, So we need to see more of that. This whole standard of beauty it's just, we got to get back to the basics of just how we are. We are beautiful in the skin that we are in. We don't have to get these BBLs. And I mean, if that's what you want to do, these
do it for you.
And that's actually, I think, a big question. How do you determine whether or not you're doing what you're doing for you or based off of what society is dictating?
Right.
Because, well, there's sometimes I'm like, okay, my calves are skinny, right? I'm just trying to halfway fit in here. So there are dudes literally who get calf implants. Like, it's a thing. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd.
So we know what Jay gonna get with his first
So
paycheck.
for Christmas, I'm asking for calf implants, and I think it's my time. You know what I'm saying? No, but like that would be an example.
Yeah,
so
for
like,
sure.
how do you know whether or not you're following the right North Star? You know what I mean?
Right, for
But
sure.
have you always wanted that, or was it until you looked
I
at
saw
somebody?
Iz
Yeah.
with his like calf, and I was like,
Show us your calves.
you made
Show
this,
us-
you
show us
made
the
me this
calves.
way, bruh. I was like,
Wait, no. So
Yes.
I have an answer for this. So when I had Journey,
Yeah.
so before I had Journey, so I'm skinny. So I'm part of the itty bitty titty committee, right? And them things sat perfectly where they were supposed to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had my daughter, I was blessed to be able to breastfeed her for 9 months.
Wow.
But after that, I couldn't find them because they were sitting so low. And I remember thinking to myself, sis, what happened? What are these sandbags? What's going on here? No man is gonna want you because of these boobs, or lack thereof. So I was like, not only are they little, but they're falling. So we gotta figure this out. So I remember I was doing a photo shoot, and it was right after I did The Voice. Journey was about 2, and I threw that self-consciousness in the back of my mind, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do what I need to do. And I was doing a photo shoot, and I was leaned in like this, and you could see some cleavage, and ladies, the ones who know what I'm talking about, you get that little U, that little U shape, and it looked like a little sag, and someone commented on it and mentioned it. And when I tell you, it cut me so deep, I honestly felt like the most ugly, miserable, I felt disgusting. I felt unworthy to even be taking pictures. Like, it was terrible. And I started looking up prices for breast augmentation. I started looking up prices for boob jobs. I ain't had no money. But I was going to do something to raise it. I was going to find some credit or something, take out a student loan, and then not go to class. I was going to do something. But
Right.
I remember very specifically, Mom and Dad, close your ears. Close your ears. Don't listen. Don't listen. When I started dating Ishmael, the first thing, because I hadn't been with anybody but her dad. And it was weird. Like, going into the dating world and having these issues, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. These men ain't gonna want me. They're gonna look at these sandbags, And Ishmael, the first things he said to me, because he could tell I was hiding, he was like, you are beautiful from head to toe. Like, every single part of you. He actually was like, bring me them saggy boobies.
Listen. That's a real man, girl. That's a real man right there, okay?
That's for you, baby.
That's a real man.
I'm gonna step beside him.
And I remember thinking, wait a minute.
don't look at the phone. Look over here. You can't hide. Own it.
That's a real man right there.
I remember I almost wanted to cry because I felt so ugly before that. And I was like, nobody's going to want me. I can't take pictures. And he said that to me. And still to this day, he tells me, no matter what, you are gorgeous. And you're so right about having the people around you. I guess he's my husband. But at the same time, it just means so much when you have that moment of validation in your imperfections, and you have somewhere you can go to feel safe. And most recently, I've been posting a little bit. And you'll never see me in a bathing suit, but I've been posting, like, right now. You see my midriff, And I've always been self-conscious about my arms. But the validation from my husband and my mom and my dad, has really helped a lot.
So, perfect point. So, both of you talked about your arms. And it's so interesting
These chicken wings.
because you are you think your arms are you used to, I don't know, but there's some people have an issue with their arms being too small, and some people have an issue with their arms being too big, and it's so absurd because I'm trying to not be offensive, but do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
200%. For me, I'm just learning, right, we need to be safe spaces for ourselves.
Yes.
And I say that because, just as a woman, I'm not a man, so I don't know.
Mhm.
But I know as women, we have so many insecurities
Yes.
about the things that God gave us, right? So I don't know how
Yes.
religious y'all are, but I believe in God.
Mhm.
And I believe that he gave us all of these things for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just think that we just need to be safe spaces for ourselves. We are always seeking validation from other people as opposed to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like you said, I can relate to having a baby. But before I even had my son, I was always plus size. And I know we referred to Kourtney Kardashian earlier, but for me, it's also like, I'm never going to be Khloe Kardashian.
Yeah.
I'm black. I'm a
Yeah.
black woman. And so it even baffles me to this day when I watch these girls and everybody wants to look like Kim K and everybody wants to look like these women who don't even look like you. It's like, I just think that we are losing authenticity.
Yes.
Especially with the editing and the photoshops and the likes and the views. And we just, it's like nobody wants to be themselves anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And so I think that sometimes I get deep in my mind, especially when I'm with my husband, and I'm like, God's going to ask me when I get to this gate, like, you mean to tell me you stopped yourself from doing what I wanted you to do because of how you looked?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So when you asked me to be a part of this show and it was like Pretty Hurts, I feel like, yeah, Pretty hurts you. Because we are so stuck on trying to look like somebody that we are not. I'm never going to be her. And I'm doing such a disservice to myself, to my husband, to my son, to my mother, who I look just alike, by trying to be somebody that I'm not. You know what I mean? So it's like more than anything, more than the likes, more than the views, more than people picking me up and saying, hey, I want you to model for this. I want you to do this. I need to be who I like.
Yes.
Like it's like your home. When you walk into my home, I want you to be like, this house is filled with love.
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't want you to just look at the photos because my house, it is dope. I like it, but I want for you to come in and be like, I feel this house. I feel the love that she has for her husband. I feel the love that they have for their child.
Yeah.
I feel that. So when you look at my Instagram, I want you to get a feeling from me more than just how I look.
Yeah.
And so I don't focus on, because I never was the girl with the skinny nose or the small shoulders and the I'm a big girl and I'm a real big girl. You know what I'm saying? So I've always tried to be a safe space for myself and to know that it's okay to look how you look and to feel how I feel. And I feel great. And if you don't think that I look great, then that's okay. But I'm more than how I look as well. And so that's the way that I carry myself, and I think that that's what we all need to do. Stop focusing so much on just how we look. It's more about how we feel.
And I remember meeting you in 2016.
Yeah.
And I remember looking on your Instagram and feeling like, oh my God. First of all, I thought she was gorgeous from the jump. I was like,
Same.
she
The
is
feelings were
fly.
mutual.
I remember
Right.
meeting you with your husband. I was like, I love him. And I remember feeling like that love for self, right? And somehow, like, it's weird how your love for self can make someone else love themselves. I recently became a certified self-love coach. Because I realized that I didn't love myself. I realized that a lot of my mental struggles were because of what do you call it?
Your internal narrative?
External.
Your external
My
narrative.
external narrative. You're supposed to do the voice.
I don't know what the voice was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But the external narrative, I was like, I didn't have a big butt. I didn't have big boobs. I wasn't a little bit taller to model. I'm not a dancer. So you couldn't catch me at the party and be like, oh, that's the girl to go to, Right. I wasn't a drinker. Right. Like, there were so many things that I was not.
But at the same time, you've been hated on.
Yes.
I was going to say, right. But look at that. Through all of your beauty.
Right.
Because the European standard, you are gorgeous. And you are. I mean, you are, but it's like we all have our own personal struggle.
Right.
Because the average person would look at you and be like, she's gorgeous. Like, you light.
Yes.
You got this
I would
beautiful
look at her
body.
like, I want to look like her.
Hair. Right. I want to look like her. But you still have your own struggles.
Right.
And that is what teaches us that we all have our own struggles.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
You know, you can struggle, but get through it.
Yes.
Because you only have one person. You only have one body. You only have one face. You only
One
have
life.
it's only one you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all can't be Beyonce,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But
Fortunately, because I like the whole
Fortunately.
spectrum.
Yeah,
exactly.
I wasn't
Fortunately.
like I'm serious.
right, but we all can't be. You know, it's like, yeah, I like chocolate ice cream, but sometimes I want vanilla.
Yes.
Sometimes I want butter pecan. I mean, you know, it's like we have to
Yeah.
learn to love the array of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As
Yes.
opposed to just looking at somebody and saying, "Oh, she's picture perfect," because you don't know how that person feel about themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just for you saying your testimony, it just makes us realize that somebody can be as beautiful as you and still have their own struggles.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it should make us all feel a little bit better about ourselves and accepting ourselves fully
Right.
because we don't know what nobody else is going through.
Listen.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all can clap. No, we clap. Make some noise. Clap.
Well, number one, I want to thank you ladies for coming out.
Thank you
Again, I
for
wish we
having
had
me.
400 people in this room to
Look.
hear your story.
But those who needed to get it got
What
it.
God
Yes.
exactly.
And the ones who gonna watch are gonna get it too.
Mhm.
But I'm thankful because again, seeing you, meeting you, looking at your Instagram and following you for all these years has been
Mhm.
inspiring to me.
That's dope. Thank you.
And cuz
Yes.
Mom,
that
she know my mom.
Yes.
So learning your story and getting to know you, and I'm going to get to know you, girl, because you done got me now. That's
Yes.
it. I'm excited for both of your journeys, you know, and to continue watching you grow. So thank you so much for coming and sharing with the audience and being open.
Is there
Thank
anybody
you.
who wants to say anything, make any comments, any thoughts, ideas? Because the microphone's there for y'all too. I know it's not that many here, but like if you have something that you want to say, it's all really valuable. And part of what we're trying to build with this is interaction because it's
ahead,
not
girl.
just about us.
Go ahead,
If you don't,
say
it's okay. But you know,
Did you?
if
Oh,
it's,
you did? You wanted to come up
If
real
there's
quick
something
and
on
say
your
something
heart.
because she kept bringing you up.
She want to
so-
say something.
please,
Can I say something?
you don't even gotta use the mic.
Of course.
You know, this is about Key. So that's my girl. Like I tell you, it's just amazing how certain people just come into your life to just pour into you and uplift you. Like her and I, we have conversations all the time about you know, just style, body positivity and everything. And it was her idea. We have a style group. I don't know if you follow
Yes,
that.
I
It's
love
called
it.
Formulated Style.
I need
Four
that
is
for me.
the number 4, FOUR, like 4 emulated, MULATED style.
They are fabulous.
Yes.
By the way.
So it's 4 ladies, you know, from 4 different cities, 4 different body types. And this was Key. She came up with that idea. And I'm telling you, like, the page is just so dope. So people follow us and they're like, oh my gosh, like I look like her. I'm tall like Key, or I got button hips like Tiff, or, you know, or I look like Breen and oh gosh, who Shanique, you know,
right.
so we're just all different, 4 different body types that people see, and it's like, wow, like we just this gorgeous style group that is just bomb, and I just can't wait to see us just keep growing and growing and growing. You know, and it was just like the best thing that we could ever create, like.
And to piggyback off of what Tiffany said, it's also to show that style is eclectic. So they try to put us in these boxes. You know what I mean? Especially plus size women, y'all. You know, we only wear this, or we don't wear that. We don't do that. But these are 4 different. We're all plus size, but we all look different,
Right?
And it's just to show that we can wear what we want. We got some girls like Shanique. Who's
she's like the sneaker head.
And she is flying her own way. Fashionique is her Instagram. And then we have Key. I mean, we're just all different.
Yes,
you know, it's
Key is the print. She's the mixed print.
Right.
Girl, like, you know, you're going to get all of that. You're going to get all of this.
You're going to get the big
you're gonna
hair.
you're going to get the big hair. She going to give us the Afrocentric Jill Scott
We're gonna get
vibes
this
all
bald
time.
head,
you know?
right.
Yes.
So that's what it is. It's just to show that, style is eclectic and that we don't have to all be put in these boxes. And it's like, who made these boxes anyway?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like defying the norms. Like, yeah, we are plus size, but I know I'm 280 pounds and I wear my heels. Like, and I don't care.
Yes.
I love them.
Yes.
So, it's just to show that we are just all different, that we all dope in our own way. And, I don't know, but I know for me, I just want everybody to feel just as dope as you really are and to ask yourself what you really want for yourself.
Yeah.
What it is that you want, what it is that you like.
Yeah.
How do you want to look? How do you want to be portrayed? Like, it's just self-searching.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we are all, a journey that we are all on, and that we will probably lifelong. Like, it's a lifelong journey, but that's the group. So if y'all ever get the chance, you want to follow Formulated Style, that's what we are.
Yes.
Just a show.
And one other thing before Key says something. Another thing with myself, it was like when I went through that period of not liking myself, but I've always been strong in my faith, always been a churchgoer, taught Sunday school and everything. And there was a point when I was like, okay, how can I go to church? How can I talk about I love God, but yet I hate what he created? Like, how can you say you love God and love everything that he created, but then you're hating yourself, but he created you? Like, you can't do that. So it was like, I'm doing a disservice and a dishonor to God. Like, now I'm like, my bad. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you talk about you don't like yourself and I made you this way. I made you this height. I gave you those hips. You can't do that. So you have to, if you say that you love God, you have to love you too, because he made you in his own image.
Absolutely. And really quickly, to piggyback off of that, I'm reading a book right now called Black Girl Call Home, and it's by Jasmine Mann. She's a poet. I love her. She's actually from Newark, so she's right up the street. But she wrote a book called Black Girl Called Home, and it's like a collection of poetry. And she has a piece in there that just says, like, my mama is praying to God, but she's praying to God so loud that even if he was to respond, she couldn't hear him. And that resonated so well with me, because it was like, a lot of the times we are asking God for something and he might be looking at you like, well, that's not even what I had for your life.
Yes.
You so focused on the beauty. Like, that is the God, that's the worldliness of you. But I gave you a godly purpose. Like, it's so much more than just how we look. And I think sometimes we are just, God, I wish my skin was clearer. God, I wish my stomach was flatter. God, I wish. And it's like, girl, but I got something else for you. It's something deeper, a deeper purpose that I have for you than just the way you look. And so I think sometimes we need to just get out of our heads and allow God to shine his light through us the way that he want us to shine, not just the way that we want to shine.
Yeah.
Because we just put so much on beauty, but it's like, how much does pretty matter anyway? Like, okay, I'm pretty, I look okay, but what does that matter? It's about how you feel. And so that's where I'm at.
I just want you to know that we're going to take that clip and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, because that was perfect.
It's the truth. It's like, how much does pretty really matter anyway? Especially when God has a bigger purpose for our life than just how we look. So
How much does pretty matter?
Right.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Kiera. I'm from. It's called Morton, PA. Like, I'm a suburb of Philadelphia. So I actually met Tiff and Bryn. As Tiff said, I've met Tiff from following her on social media, and then meeting her actually still one day. And I actually met Bryn. We were following each other on Instagram, and then I found out her and Tiff knew each other. So I had the idea of like the style group. I was like, "Oh, you think she would do it?" And Tiff was like, "Oh, you know what? I'll ask her." And the first day that we actually all got together was like our first photo shoot, and the vibe was just like, it was real, it was organic, it wasn't forced, and it was just like we've been rocking since. So, a little bit about me, like when I grew up, I'm sitting down right now, but I'm 5'10". I have heels on right now, and growing up, I was always the tall girl. I was always dark skinned. Dark skin didn't get popping until recently. Like,
Yes.
They used to have every name under the sun for dark skin. Then on top of that, I was tall. I was always bigger. Like, Tiff, when you talk about the store 5'7", 9", I don't even remember like being of so many sizes. I told my mom, like, I feel like I blinked and I was like
Skipped.
Yes.
I don't even know, like,
Double digits, right?
So I struggled for a long time, like with just like loving myself. Like And it was just, and it wasn't like, it had nothing to do with like my family or like at home.
Right.
Like, my
Yeah.
mom always told me I was beautiful. My dad always told me I was beautiful. But you know, like sometimes that's just not enough because you gotta go. You get the love at home, but you gotta go to school. You gotta be in the neighborhood. Yeah. Like my friends, I have a twin sister. My twin sister was always, she could eat anything she wanted. She was always skinny. She always had like just a perfect body, and like my friends were all skinny. And it wasn't until like honestly I connected with Tiff and Brenda. They're like my first real plus size friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like just meeting people, and that's how I came up with the style group is because I worked with kids. I'm like kind of like Tiff. I'm not as deep into like working with kids as Tiff, but I always worked in summer camp, and I realized like how different like the times are now, and how mean like
Yes.
kids really are, and how it really like there's people, and like some people can take more than others, and like that one little thing like really can send somebody over the edge.
Yes.
So just like that, being around kids and like seeing like the little things that impacted them is like I wanted to walk in my purpose more, and I wanted to do more for the people who come after me, because it's like there's a whole world, there's a whole generation after us who are going to be the future leaders in this world.
Absolutely.
And it's up to us to kind of like instill like beauty into them, and like even like what Tiff was saying with social media. Social media has like, I love social media, but I hate it at the same time because it's like ruining the generation that comes after us, because they're seeing all this stuff that's just not realistic.
Right.
And there's some of them are suffering. And, like parents, some stuff, kids won't talk to their parents about, their family about.
Yeah.
But some of these kids are really suffering.
Yes.
And it's not that they don't have love at home. It's not that they don't have people that care about them. But it's just like, when you turn on your cell phone, or when you scroll through your social media feed, it's the things that you're seeing, and you're seeing over and over again. And it makes you feel like less than, even though you have people around you telling you that you're more, and you're this, and you're more than that, you can be this and that and the third. But when you get on social media, it doesn't look like that. So I'm just a person I'm just about a good vibe. Like I want to give off a vibe. I want to, just impact the world, like change the world. I want to change the narrative and show people like, yes, we are style, and we're this and the third, but we're more than that. And we're just trying to change the narrative, but we're also doing it for the generation that's going to come after us, because we want them to know, you can do this. You are beautiful. You are more than what people say about you. And, just don't let that define you. So I really appreciate this. I thought it was amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things, and I kind of already said this, but it's to your point again. It's like on one hand, that whole awful idea that we're understanding that dark skin is beautiful. We're understanding that hair like yours is absolutely cool. You understand? And we're making those kinds of changes. And you're, you have this incredible career as a model, and we see those big changes happening. But at the same time, all of the negative that's also sort of overwhelming all of that stuff. So I don't know. Just any thoughts or comments on how do we keep that vibe going and get rid of, all of the blatant negativity, because there's so much progress and so much negativity.
We have moments like this.
Right.
We have moments like this where.
Yes,
right,
yes,
exactly.
Exactly.
One person can't change the world. But it's like, it's just one person at a time. And like Tiff said, how they had that moment and it impacted her and made her change her outlook. It's just about those moments, honestly. The more moments you have like that, the more impact you have.
Your friendship brought me to the memory of me and my best friend. Me and my best friend have been best friends since 7th grade. And she is, I call her Janelle the Gazelle, because we met during track practice, and she was so graceful of a runner. She has these long legs. She's 5'8", 5'9".
Okay.
And she's brown skin. She's got super thick black curly hair. And I always thought that she was the most beautiful thing. Like I remember just when we would be at her house, we would be watching TV or we would go to the movies. And I'm like, what are you wearing? And I always thought she was gorgeous. And she didn't think so. Right? Well, fast forward 2 years ago, we were talking, and I don't know how it came up, but literally we're on FaceTime. And we get into the subject of how we've envied each other. And we started crying because she was like, I always was so jealous because, you were so pretty and outgoing and funny. And, she talked about the relationship with my mom because the relationship with her mom is different. And I remember thinking to her, I'm jealous of you. You're tall and beautiful. You model. I always thought she was confident in herself. Like, you would never have thought that 20 minutes? Okay. You would never have thought that she was not confident. And I remember we just boo-hooed on the phone, and it was like, okay, this is something. This really tells you something. It tells me something about myself, and it tells her something about herself. And hearing you two gush over each other was like,
yeah.
Now me and my best friend be like, yes, bitch, yes.
Right.
And it's just beautiful. We all have our own struggles. We all have different ideals of beauty. And who's to say that idea is better than another? It's just about being what you said. It's got to feel good. It's like jazz music. It's like jazz music. If it feels good. Come on, Jay. You're not giving me none of that
I
today.
told you I'm going to try to shut my big mouth today, so.
But if it feels good, then it is good.
Absolutely. And really quickly, another thing, I was listening to a poem the other day on YouTube, because I'm a big poetry. I love poetry. And this guy was his poem, the name of it was Pretty Hurts. And he said this phrase, he said, the horror it has to be to wake up every morning and have consistent dates with a mirror that wants to see other people.
Whoa.
It was like, how deep is that? Like, how horrific it has to be to wake up every single morning and have dates with a mirror that wants to see other people. It was like, damn, I don't want that for my life.
No.
I don't want that for my son's life. I don't want that for anybody. And it's like, God made us this way for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, we have to learn to celebrate all of our things. It's almost like I wish we could forget our flaws the same way we forget the things that make us beautiful. Like, we focused on the things that we do not like, that you cannot see how beautiful, we are, or how bright our light shines. And it's like, these are the things that I hold on to every day. And when I look at my son, or when I look at my husband, it's like, we are so beautiful. Regardless of what the outside world thinks is beautiful, we think we're beautiful. And that's all that we need. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what we need to focus on. These are the things that we need to hold on to. And even to piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, Key, about the world and social media today. So I parent my child differently. I think that self-love starts at home.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, your kids need to hear, because I know I was a plus size girl always growing up, and I had both of my parents, but it was never always like, you were so beautiful, you were so gorgeous, you were so this and you're so that. And I think that for me, it was like, my parents grew up in a time where they didn't put emphasis on beauty. But now we do. Like, everything is about beauty, and that's fine too. But I'm gonna let my son know that regardless of how you look, you are made in God's image.
Yes.
You look like your mother and your father, and you look like that for a reason, because we created you. And so it's like, self-love really starts at home. And I think that you do a great job with your students as well, Tiffany. Like, they love you. They love Tiffany. We all love Tiffany anyway.
We love
Tiffany. Right. But, I think that we just need to start speaking life into our children. We need to start speaking life into our youth. And we need to let them know that it's more than just being pretty or being aesthetically appeasing. There's more to you. Yes, I have a face, and yes, I have a body, but there's so much more to me than just that.
So and please stop making fun of me when I dress poorly. Thank you.
But that's
a choice.
That's the focus. You know what I mean? That's the focus. So
I want to jump in on that, because I'm just going to speak by just off the flow of my mind, right?
Give us a poem, one of the hot poem. Come on.
No, it's not a poem. I love poetry too.
Yeah.
But when you said self-love starts at home, right? I have a 3-year-old, and I hype her up, right? Confidence level on high. But then when you think about when I was younger, it was like, when you say that to me, it was like, oh, well, to be, to what I do to my daughter would be classified as fast. Don't be too fast. Don't be too confident. Calm that down, because society thinks that you should live in this area, and anything outside is not accepted. So it does alter what we perceive beauty to be, right? Like, for example, and to piggyback off a couple things you guys said, like, how do you continue this, right? And even though if there's a lot of different ways, but people deal with things in different ways, right? So, for example, I had a really close friend of mine tell me, Mikey, your personality is the shit, but you sloppy, right? Right? But like,
We about to pull up.
You know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna
We
pull
did
up
box at the end of the
nobody.
night. We did box.
Stop it.
Oh,
It
you
was
did?
just like a
Okay.
box, you know?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Right. Like,
You know
what
what
are
I'm
you talking about?
It was like, I don't rock. But I also let people feel comfortable enough to be able to tell me that without being defensive. Because even though that I'm unbothered, if you would have told something like that to my mother, she would have shut down and been in a depression. Wanted to, however that long that lasts, right? So my mother is 60 years old and still will not wear her arms out. Still will not wear her arms out. So when you guys were speaking, it was making me think, and on another mental health level of my mother, was like, damn, like you spent 60 something years
of your life.
your life really not loving yourself. So before you pass, you can never really say you love yourself, right?
Wow.
So when you said that poetry, you waking up and looking in the mirror wishing you see something else, it's either that or she's looking in the mirror mad at what she sees.
Yeah.
Right? So you still can't get out of that.
Yeah.
And I think those are the type of people that should, well, not only for me, because for me, I hear you guys, and then I can take this home to her.
Yes.
Right? So she's like, Mikey, how you get so strong? Because these are the things that I surround myself with like-minded people, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a building process. So just saying that, like, I appreciate that. I know my daughter is going to grow cocky, because...
I wonder where she would get it from.
Because I hype her up. So, I might not be, I might not put it, but she lives, I live through her.
Yeah, exactly.
She's lit as fuck.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel it, but I just would love to see it manifest in a level where people who are not cannot take these words and easily build our self-esteem up, start to positive affirmations and things like that. But when you walk out the house, to really feel like, I don't give a fuck if you look him off. Like, I know. I always line up like that.
Literally right.
No,
She's
look,
not joking.
well, see,
Mikey
she really will knock you out. Like, y'all don't understand, Mikey. Like everybody go night-night. But
It takes me a lot to get there. But that's one of my defensive things, is that I always do it in a joking manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, to where that person was comfortable enough to tell me that. Anyway, not even going back to that. Oh, Pastor, because I hear sis back here, she is loving all of this stuff. So I feel like I had to grab the mic and pass it so she can bless it too.
Yes.
Hey, Jez. Thank you.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
I just wanted to say that I actually needed this conversation because, again, like you all say, you never know what people are going through. And I feel like for me personally, I'm going through this metamorphosis because I've always had external validation, but it never gave me the space to have internal validation. So I have spent my entire life being told that I'm beautiful and talented, and I believed it, but I didn't feel it.
Yes.
And so now I'm at the point where, I'm having to do things to build myself up internally. And I appreciate it when other people tell me. My mom told me, my dad told me, but it's like, it's teaching, I think, our children from a young age, from home, to internally validate themselves, to really allow them to feel and create a space where they feel like they're beautiful, where they feel like they're talented, and they feel like they're lovable, not because other people tell them that they are, but because that's what they desire to be, that's what they vibrate on, that's how they feel. So you ladies have been dropping so many gems, and I've just been taking it all in. And I too, Nadj, wish that there was 444 people in the audience.
I know.
Yeah.
Because we all need to hear it, and it's beautiful to see. You ladies are very, very inspiring.
Awesome.
Very beautiful. So continue to do what you do.
Thank you.
Des. So, we only got a couple minutes on the camera, so we
Are you
going.
serious?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
But I actually wrote a song called Imperfection. And the main line is, who told you you ain't perfect when you are? So I would like to end the show on us saying that. So all you're going to say is, who told you you ain't perfect when you are? But I want you to look at someone and say it. Okay, you ready? You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Who told you you ain't perfect when you are?
Yay!
Those are too many words for me to remember, but that's fine.
I don't need your external validation. No, thank you guys so much for coming.
This was awesome.
We have so much more to talk about. I swear, it's these conversations are huge and they're uncomfortable.
We may
and
need to do a part 2.
I mean, listen, we can get the whole squad up here, girl. That's all I'm saying.
Right,
Tell them
right,
pull
right.
up in a good way, though, not Mikey's way. But I think we should have the conversation because it's so deep.
No, we're gonna keep having these. I don't care if it's 3 people or 300 people.
Right.
These conversations matter
Because the babies matter. Like what you
Yes.
said, those babies, like my Yara, my little Yara, like
I love that name.
Yara is, it means little butterfly. And that she's a butterfly. You tell Yara, mom, tell him, Yara, go, like just she'll drop whatever she doing and she'll be like, like she don't care. When she gets her hair done, I make sure go see your daddy. And the first thing he says, he don't even know what's happening. He turn around, look at your hair, girl. And if she does something like she counts to 10, we like, you are smart. Like we hype her up. Same thing with my son. Same thing with my 8-year-old. You know, because my mom did that with us. You know, she taught me how to spell my name by singing a song. Do you remember that, Mom? She always say, it's 30 years ago. How am I supposed to remember? You're supposed to, I'm special, Mom. That's why. But yes, we got to build up our babies. So these conversations are needed. Ooh. Okay.
I love when Mikey's on one.
Because on top of that, right, like, I hype my 3-year-old up and I'm in a different space. But I also have a 12-year-old that now needs to be lifted because through all those years that I wasn't where I needed to be, he deals with the butt end of that. So when he walks around and is apologetic for things that is his natural being, is a sign of trauma. And if you don't address those things now, when you say it's for the babies, and he is too heavyweight, you know, and there's a lot of things that go into this. And I'm sure everybody's situation is a lot of things, but as far as just being in a healthy space to make sure that you don't pass that on to your children. And if you do, catch it in a time that is manageable. Yes. Right? So I think that would be a good idea for a part 2, just in case. Like
for the babies.
The trauma after or whatever.
We'll brainstorm.
Yeah, we
only one call away.
Because that's it's a root thing.
Yes.
Right? And changing that, it has to come, we have to change. We have to really, you want to dig, we got to dig deep.
Yep.
Because, So, I don't know, I just grabbed up my cup.
Thank you, Mikey. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for coming and being a part of the conversation.